Everybody, welcome to MuscleTech's preview of the Arnold Classic. Joining me, one of the original MuscleTech superstars from way back in the day, one of the OGs of this sport, none other than Shahryar, the King Kamali.
What's up, Ron? What's up, MuscleTech? It's been a while. What can I say, man? It's that time again, first weekend of March. We all know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, you are no stranger to the Arnold Classic. Your rookie season, I saw you at your pro debut, I believe it was the Ironman a week or two before.
Correct.
But then a couple weeks later, the 2001 Arnold, the only time a reigning Mr. Olympia, at that time Ronnie Coleman, competed in the Arnold Classic. Of course, he won.
Yeah.
You took a very, very respectable place behind Ronnie Coleman, Chris Cormier, and Dennis James.
Right.
For a guy that had been competing as a pro for about a week at that point, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah. And you did it two more times. You did it 2004 when Cutler, that was the third time Cutler won in a row. And then you did it in 2005, the first year Dexter won. He'd go on to win it 5 times. So, yeah, you're no stranger to the Columbus stage, King.
I've always told people that, everybody obviously, their intention is to get to the Olympia, obviously. But if you don't have the Arnold in your repertoire, then you haven't done it as a pro. You gotta experience the whole Columbus, Ohio Arnold Classic. It's the best.
Yeah, and it's a different flavor. It's a whole different atmosphere. I tell people go to both because they're such different shows and they're both awesome in their own way.
Yes.
So I would hate to have to pick one or the other, honestly.
But I'm going to be a little bit biased, man. I think the old Arnold days is much better than the new days. That's just my own personal opinion. And I'm not being a disgruntled, retired bodybuilder like all these douchebags like to say. I'm just saying that it was more of a tight-knit group. It was more bodybuilding instead of the slap fighting and the arm wrestling and all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, you're old. You remember, you're almost as old as me. You remember when it was only bodybuilding. There was just the Arnold Classic. For the first year I went, I don't even know I think there was a Ms. International, but that's it. There was men's bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding. I don't know if you're old, and I don't know if you go back this far. I remember when it was all under one roof in the Veterans Memorial.
That is correct. I do remember that. And I one more thing I would add to that is, if you take out the men's open, there will be no Arnold Classic.
Oh yeah, come on now.
I hear the shit. I hear they're talking, and nowadays, everybody's, oh no, now it's too big. No, it's not. You take out the men's open, it's done. Oh please, I mean, everything. The bodybuilding, open men's bodybuilding, is the foundation of all of this. Correct.
We started all this. I like to say, like how I say we, and it's not going away anytime soon.
Nope.
So this is an awesome Arnold Classic. Let's go down the line, but we'll start from. I don't like to say in no particular order because I like to start with the big headliners.
Okay.
Hadi Choopan from that little country called Iran, which has produced some amazing champions.
Correct.
Just lost his Olympia title a few months back, and he's taking a big risky move by doing the Arnold Classic. Mm-hmm. In my eyes, if he doesn't win this, that's going to make his stock go down just a little bit. Kind of a similar way that Rami did the Arnold last year, which was a lot of people like, why is he doing the Arnold?
Right.
So before we even get into the physical, advantages and disadvantages, the pluses and minuses, the Hadi Choopan physique, if you were Hadi Choopan's best friend and he asked you a few months ago, King, after a week or two after the Olympia, said, King, should I do the Arnold? What do you think? What would you have told him?
I would say, let me see your blood work. I look at it from a scientific point of view. Okay, there's a political aspect, there is a career aspect, and then there's the scientific and health aspect. First thing I would be, as a coach, as his friend or whatever, I'd be like, hey man, how's your blood work? How do you feel? Let's see the panel. Let's see a full metabolic panel. Once I see that, and once he sees it and discusses it with the coach and his doctor, then I would say, okay, it's time to go. Now, that's number one. Number two, is it a smart thing that this is what he wants to do? Listen, in his mind, he got robbed. Okay? In the mind of some people and an entire country, he got robbed.
Yeah.
I went down the list at the end when I was doing the podcast for the Olympia.
Yeah.
And I broke it down as to why Derek won. And it's, you look at it logically, he beat him. Derek won by a small edge, but he beat him. Yes, he's taking a risk, but he's pissed off. Some people, like myself, do a lot better when they're mad and they're angry. And I think Hani has a little bit to do with this too. Now, this is all in the sphere of, can he get his visa? That is the key here. Can he get his visa?
Yeah, I mean, would Hani even allow him to be throwing his name into the show and all that if he couldn't get the visa. Knowing Hani, he's a very meticulous guy. He's got great connections over there with, he's gotten Hadi over here several times already. So,
right.
But typically he's like at the Olympia. Wasn't he here about 6 weeks before? He's not here yet, I don't think.
See, but Ron, you have to put the whole gamut into the equation. Politics change on a daily basis. Every day something changes. Who knows what country is going to attack what? Who's going to get sanctioned? This and that. We don't know what's going on. And I'm sure we're going to talk about Naxzilla and what happened to him. It's the same fucking thing, man. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's better to be safe than sorry. But in this case, I agree with you. I think Hani's got some type of pull to get him over here. But it's coming down to the wire now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be if I was a Hadi. And by the way, I heard it's Chopin, not Chupan. Do you know if that's true?
It's Chupon.
It is Chupon.
Yes, Choopan. Chupon.
So, yeah, I mean, you would know the correct pronunciation.
Yes, it's Chupon. That's the correct way to say it.
Yeah, because people are blasting.
It's not Chopin. I love Bob Ciccarello. It's not Chopin. It's Chupon.
Oh, because I was getting yelled at for saying Chupon. People say, "No, you idiots! You've been saying it wrong."
You tell those idiots that they're wrong. It's the correct pronunciation is Chupon.
Okay, you would know. You would know for sure.
Yes.
Right, so physically, I don't recall all these years. Aside from the year he did Vancouver, I don't recall him doing multiple shows a year or coming back from a show that quickly. The Olympia was only mid-October. It's not a lot of time to let your body reset and then get way back into prep mode and all that entails. You might know a little bit more about his history and how his body responds to trying to do that. Do you think he's going to be able to rebound and get back in shape exactly the way he wants to in that amount of time, or is that a gamble?
Okay, so here's my theory on my King Kamali's theory on what's going to happen here. Okay, yeah. I think that he's pissed off and he wants to show the world that he can bring that conditioning that we all are used to. Now, there's a positive and there's a negative with that. The positive is, if you're pissed and you really start dieting and you don't eat that extra, little bit of a cookie that was, all those little things that we did when we were dieting. If he's doing all that, yes, he's going to condition. He's going to get himself into shape. But here's the but factor in there. You can push it too far and come in flat. If they try to pull too much, he will come in flat. You can't. When you have a certain size, like perfect example is Jay Cutler. Jay tried to come in shredded. He looked like balls, and he admitted it. I was with him at the MuscleTech party afterwards, and I was like, "Yo," he goes, "I look like shit. I won, but I look like shit. I can't do that again. I got to come in full." Exactly. Dexter Jackson has to come in grainy. When he comes in grainy, he's a Hall of Famer. Nobody can touch him. He's amazing. Blah 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 blah. So everybody has their thing. Hadi put the standard up here. Okay, he put this conditioning where everybody's like, "Oh, Hadi will be conditioned with Hadi." Okay, let's see he does that. Now we all know that the Arnold Classic has a tradition of conditioning. They reward conditioning. They have their most muscular award, and they have their championship award. So let's see what happens. Hani, like you said, he's very meticulous. He's down to the wire with every little single drop of grain of rice and all that stuff. That's fantastic and all that. But the body does weird things each time you step on stage. And there's a pattern, and I think you would agree with this. I saw your review after the Olympia. I heard what you had to say, Ron.
Yep.
There's a pattern, though. Hadi has been getting worse and worse as we're going. It's not been going this way. It's been going this way. So let's see what happens.
Okay. So, he's obviously his greatest competition is the reigning and defending champion, Samson Dauda, who has been, 3-4 years ago, I never thought he was even going to be at this level.
You and me both.
Of winning Arnold's and possibly winning an Olympia. But this guy's come on strong. Milos has done a great job adding size and fullness to a guy with a 6-foot frame. Comes in around 300 pounds with a little tiny waist like a men's physique guy. Beautiful shape, symmetry, structure, aesthetics, all that. Never showed the kind of condition that I want to see, the kind of condition that Hadi has on his worst day. I've never seen from Samson on his best day yet. Samson towers over him, obviously. Mm-hmm. It's not a height contest. It's not a mass contest. But when a guy is that much taller and wider and just takes up that much more space than another guy, you've judged shows too. You've been in the front row at many hundreds of shows by now, thousands. What do you do? I mean, what do you see is coming down to as a battle between Samson, assuming it does come down to these two men?
Right.
And you're the judge. And, you know, we always have to say theoretically they're both at their best.
Right.
Which is always a gamble to even say that. But
right.
What do you do with these two physiques if you're the judge?
Okay. First of all, nobody's going to be at their best. We always say that.
Yeah.
You say it. I say it. Palumbo says it. Milo says it. We all say it on all our podcasts and stuff. And what happens? We put the expectations up here, and they all come off like the Olympia. Everyone was a little bit off. Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Samson. Okay. It's a two-pronged thing. Number one, his personality. He's a good guy. I talk to Samson. We are in communication with each other. I motivate him. I send him little messages here and there, and he sends me back. He goes, King, I needed that. Thank you. Because I believe he will be a multiple Mr. Olympia. That's my opinion. Now, there's certain things that Samson's skin is extra black. It's Wesley Snipes black, okay? Yeah. When you have that type of skin, the lighting has to be absolutely superb for everyone to see what Samson has. There are some pictures when Samson's standing next to Hadi and Derek. When you look at it, you say, okay, he could be harder. He could. But when the flash bulbs go off and you see the light flashing on their bodies, then you're like, oh, shit, Samson's got that. Samson does have the hamstrings. He does have that. So my thing is, I hope to God they get the lighting correct. For the love of God, get the lighting correct. Go hire Michael Nephew. Go find a guy who used to do the Ironman Pro. Do that lighting. They're going to turn around and say, well, it's a different stage. That we got cameras. We have the, this is professional bodybuilding. Get the fucking lighting right so we can all see what's going on. If the lighting is correct and they're both at their best, it's going to be a toss-up.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point because that's a very similar thing that we've noticed with Akim Williams, who's a similar skin tone. I think the ideal skin tone for any bodybuilder, if they could have any skin tone, would be like Phil Heath, that like sort of caramel. It's
Phil Heath, Sean Ray, yes.
Yeah, you can see every little grain, every little fiber in the muscles, but when someone is that dark, it's the unless you, like you said, I've noticed that too. Some shots, I'm like, wow, he actually looked like better condition than I remember from, and I was right there in a few rows from the stage, but
correct.
Yeah. But I mean, size, symmetry, the guy's got everything. Condition. I don't know if it's going to come down to just something like that. I think it's going to be a tough one for the judges.
Well, I mean, they all have their own specific shots that they're really good in. Okay. From the side, from the back, from the front, we can break it down, what have you. Symmetry will go to, as crazy as it sounds, the 300-pounder is going to win the symmetry. Yeah. Because he's got that beautiful waist and all that stuff. Yeah. Samson I'm going to say the same thing that I've been telling him. Now, Samson's he doesn't like negative reinforcement. He's the opposite of me. When I was doing this, I hated when people in the gym told me you look good. I hated that. I like people to say, yo, man, you look like shit, or you still need to get this going. And that's why I went to Fairfax Hackley, because he was a mean son of a bitch. And I got used to that. Samson doesn't like that. He likes to hear positive things. So I'm always positive with him. What Samson needs to do, and he's doing it, it's not going to be solved by this Arnold, but it will be solved by the Olympia. He needs to thicken his lats. When he gets that lat look, the Dorian Yates, the Derek Lonsford, that lat look when they hang, he's going to be unbeatable, and it's conditioning. Now, I do have a little bit of a secret, a little bit of a tidbit that you would like to hear, and I'll tell you right now. They did not push it. Milos and Samson did not push the water pulling for the Olympia. They were at 75%. And that was a decision made by one of them. I'm not going to say which one. It was a decision made by one of them. This time out, they're going to push it. So we're going to see that. And so all those people that said, just a 2 pounds lighter, just 1% sharper, we're going to get that. So it's going to be interesting.
Awesome. Okay. So now I'm not going in order of who I think. These next few people are all front runners. And I think it's kind of wide open after that. 3, 4, 5, 6. Those places could go so many different ways. Well, let's just start with a guy who wears a lot of flannel shirts like this. James Hollingshead, the Shed. We haven't seen him for a while. He took all last year off to put some needed size. He was big, but I think we all agreed a little more roundness and fullness was going to do a world of good for him.
Right.
But he has won a couple shows already. In 2020, he won European Pro, and then the British Grand Prix. Another Milos. Milos has 3 or 4 guys in the show. 3 or 4? I don't know. But I've been looking at his updates and the condition. I'm really very pleased with where he's at. We're speaking at about, say, 3 weeks out. Yeah.
Yes.
You're 3 weeks out. I'm very happy as if I was his coach, the conditioning. He's another guy that I worry about maybe flattening out, losing a little bit of that fullness as he gets to the show. And obviously, structurally, he's not as gifted as someone like a Samson. Doesn't have the super wide clavicles.
Right.
Torso's a little bit on the long side. You know, I know the judges don't care about how hard and heavy you train, but the guy's a monster. Huge fan base. People respect the hell out of that. It's the same as like Branch and Ronnie. But physique wise, where do you see James Hollingshead falling into this mix at the Arnold Classic?
I agree with everything you just said. I couldn't have said it any better. You know, he doesn't have the wide clavicles. He's got round, thick muscle. He's very dense. He's very he looks like a jacked up Viking. That's what he looks like. Right. So I don't know the guy, but I've heard nothing but good things, and I do appreciate and I do like his physique. With him, it's going to come down to conditioning. He doesn't need. I mean, listen, that's what the judges are looking for. They want to see something better than what they're used to seeing from you. Okay, so if he comes in that 1% or 2% maximum, better condition, and holds on to that fullness, he's going to get his shot. He'll get called out.
Fair enough. Let's move on to one of two awesome Brazilians in the show. Rafael Brandao took all of last year off. He's also won a few shows. He won the 2020 Europa, 2021 Romania Muscle Fest. He won the 2022 Arnold South America in Brazil. And he's been top 10. He was 9th place at the Olympia in 2022. Again, when I saw him, a beautiful physique, but I said, not really big enough. I was actually a little surprised. As much as I love his physique, I was actually surprised he did as well as he did, just based on size alone.
Right.
The Olympia is a big man's show. And I said, this guy, if he took some time off, put 10 or 12 pounds of tissue on, which apparently he's done. I've been looking at his updates, but you know, I don't know if he's still going to be able to. You and I have both seen people that sort of lose their lines a little bit as they get bigger and fuller. I mean, you're a prime example. You're going to kill me, but I loved your physique the best your rookie season. I agree. I was a huge Kamali fan, and as the years went on, I was like, why is he getting so much bigger? And I'm a little scared for Rafael that this might be happening to him. But you know, the proof is in the pudding. We'll see him on stage. You've probably been looking at his updates.
I have. What
do you see is going on with his physique, and is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What do you think?
When he dries out, he shrinks. There are some bodybuilders that are cursed with that. There are some bodybuilders that can get away with that. When you're dry and you pull the water, you know, they come and they shine. Some people don't shine. They get smaller. Now, he's going to hate me for saying this because I said this once before with another IFBB Pro, which I'm not going to mention his name because he's another one who's sensitive. But I think if this guy pulls back on the chemistry, he could give Bumstead a run for his money. I mean, there's listen, it's not like this is his first year. It's not like this is his second year. It's not like this is his third year. Okay. After a certain point, you have to say to yourself, what did you just say? You like the best King Kamali you saw was the earlier year. Okay. Yes, I agree with you. What I should have done is I should have said to myself, okay, I have this. Let me get my sweeps a little bit more fuller. Okay, let me fill out my arms a little bit more and everything else and keep the conditioning like that. And I would have been in and then in and in. Now, there's a lot of other life things that happen to me and stuff that's not neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I would be, if I was this guy's friend, and I know these Brazilians, they're fucking nuts. They push it and they push it and they push it. I love their women. We all love their women. They have the genetics for bodybuilding. Yes, all that good stuff. But if I were him and he gets on stage again at this Arnold Classic, and he's going to look beautiful. He's going to be the handsome guy up there. He's going to be the pretty boy. He's going to have the shape. And if they still say, dude, you still need more size, he should seriously sit back and say to himself, you know what? Let me cut back on the chemistry, and let me go to the Classic and see what I can do. And I guarantee you he will do well.
Yeah. Because I don't know. Is he about 5'11"? Is he 6 foot? I know it's hard for me to say because I'm way down here, but I agree with you.
He's not short. So
he's not short. I want to say 5'10", 5'11", somewhere in that realm. So I bet he could, pull back on the supplements a bit and make it if he really wanted to. But
of course he could. Yeah. They all could. Look at Rolly Winkler right now.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I'm curious to see with the new size how that translates when he diets down, because it's always a gamble. You never know until you see somebody after a long off season whether it was a success or a failure.
I said, we're all going to find out in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, and if he gets up there, and you got a voice too, Ron. Everybody, you got a very strong voice in the sport. if you're there and you run into him, you pull him aside and say, look, bro, why don't you do this? You could really, revive everything, and you can take your career to the next level, because right now Bumstead is making bank, right? So it's a world of social media now. If I go to any gym right now and say Bumstead, they're going to know exactly what I'm fucking talking about. Nobody knows who this guy is. You know why? Because it's not marketable to what the fans and what the kids want. Once you figure that out, if career-wise and money and all that is number one for you, maybe he should go that route.
Fair enough. So the next guy is, I think they train together. Don't Rafael and Marcelo train together? Is that right? Yeah.
Oh, the best name in bodybuilding.
Horse
MD. I mean, come on. When I first heard that, I was like, what the? I mean, seriously, is this a joke? And then I realized it's the abbreviations. Horse MD, I gotta hand it to this guy. I don't know him, but I love your name, bro. The best name in bodybuilding.
Marcelo DeAngelis. I mean, the MD makes sense. Marcelo DeAngelis.
Yes.
He has legs like a Clydesdale. Is that where they got the horse from? I'm not even sure.
I have no idea. It's a great name, though. But I talked to Milos about him, too. Milos said he's an awesome guy.
Yeah, so he was a classic physique pro up until fairly recently.
Correct.
Couldn't make the weight. There was that famous incident down in Brazil when he tried to compete at their show, and he was something like 8 or 10 pounds over the limit.
Right.
So wisely, he backed away from physique. And, it doesn't always work out well for these guys in classic to think, oh, I'll just go open. I'm like, okay, good luck with that, dude. But this guy did very, very well. I think he was one of those guys who was holding back as far as the mass and the size he was capable of showing, because he was trying to get down to that weight every time. But once once you took those restrictions off, he just blew the F up. Yeah, we saw him at the Romania Muscle Fest, 3rd place, stunning pro debut for a guy that, it's like I said, most classic guys who try open, they're not going to do that well on their first time out, if they ever do that well. Very, very impressed with him, especially the limbs, crazy arms, and those legs. My goodness.
Yes.
You and I both. When someone's great from the front, I wait till they turn to the side, because 9 times out of 10, you're like, the hams are not there. This guy's got leg development top to bottom, side to side, everything there.
Yes.
Torso, good, not great. Still needs a little catching up, I think. But still, people say he could be one of the surprises and really, really beat a lot of the big names here at the Arnold. What do you think about that?
I think everything you said is correct. I think that his structure reminds me of Dennis Wolf. He's got that Dennis Wolfish structure. He just doesn't have the muscle quality yet. Okay, everything is there. He just doesn't have the muscle quality. I love the wide frame. You know me. I love width. So that wide frame is there too. He just needs some time. He's another one of those guys that needs a little bit more time. But if he brings in the conditioning, like I said, and like you said, Arnold Classic is more, they reward the conditioning. He will get his shot against those bigger names. I like him, man. I think he's good for the sport. I like those. Listen, in Brazil, they either go too far or they're okay, they're right where they're supposed to be. This guy's right where he's supposed to be. I hope he doesn't push it too far.
Right on. All right, next one we're going to talk about is Jonathan De La Rosa. He's another one that we did see him resurface last year. He took second twice, and that hurts, man. He took second at the Chicago to Justin Shire. Oh, Justin, don't get mad. I'm sorry. In the Tampa, second place to Hunter Labrada. But he has won some shows. He won the Toronto Pro in 2019. He won he was third in the New York Pro 2020. But yeah, this is a guy with, again, great structure, great shape. Mass. The only thing I've ever really wanted to see out of him that I'm still waiting to see more of, don't get mad, John, deeper separations. If he had deeper, real clear separations everywhere, between the quads, between the bis and the tris, some little more striations going on, the chest and the back, he'd be, if not damn near perfect, he'd be way up there. I still think he's going to be one of the top guys and possibly first call out guys. Where do you see Jonathan De La Rosa falling into this, Arnold?
Possible first call out.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to agree with you. Everything you said, I agree to. He's a super, super, super good guy too.
Yeah.
Every time I've seen him in person, he is very, very respectful and nice and kind and just a great guy. His physique, he's got a great physique. It falls into the Victor Martinez-esh type physiques. He doesn't. He's not a mass monster, but he's got good muscle, great arms. I just like you. I wish he had more separation and a little bit more on the wheels than he does in the upper body. If his wheels were just a little bit more fuller, yes. Again, it will be a conditioning thing. If he comes in condition, he has the shape. Like he said, he's got the overall package that will get called out.
Fair enough. Next up is another really good guy. I think I've never heard a bad word about Antoine Vaillant from Canada.
Okay.
And he's another one. He was off all last year. The kid, I call him a kid. I call everyone under 40 a kid. So he tore one bicep, then a year later he tore the other bicep almost a year to the day. Yeah. Most people never come back from one major muscle tear. He's come back from both. I was there when he won his first pro show, Chicago 2022. He won the Cal Pro 2020. But he's definitely in the B-level shows, he's always a force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
I don't know how well he's going to stack up here, but I've been looking at the updates. I'm sure you've seen him.
Yes.
Conditions looking insane right now for a 3 weeks out.
He's definitely bringing in the conditioning. He falls into the same category as James Hollingshead. They're very similar to each other. He's wider than James, but it's the same exact tier that they're falling into. And again, being at the Arnold and getting the comparisons is hard with the top guys, especially when you have a former Mr. Olympia and a guy like Samson in there. But if he brings the conditioning, he has the size, he has the density, and we'll see what happens.
Fair enough. Next up, Akim Williams. He's been as high as 6th place in that. But again, with Akim, he's coming back from shoulder surgery and everything. I'm sure he's from. Are you in Jersey as well?
No, I know of Akeem, and I've seen him in person. He's another one of the super. He's really good friends with my best friend Scott from Oklahoma, and Scott says nothing but the greatest things about him.
Yeah, and again, structure, crazy wide,
strong. Man.
You couldn't ask for much more size and fullness and roundness than what you see in Akeem.
Yeah.
Back, I've never really been happy with his back as far as the detail, density, things like that. And again, I think. The one thing that affects him the most is I'm glad you clarified that with as far as the skin tone and lighting, because people say it's thick skin. They call it seal skin, but I don't think it's a thickness of the epidermis issue. I think it's just being that dark, which,
he's Wesley Snipes black, and that could be a detriment. My best friend in the world, Tony, we grew up together, and same concept. He looks like he's got that. That alligator skin, which when you go close and you touch him, he doesn't. It's just a color that you have to. Again, it's going to come down to lighting. And Akeem, listen, let me explain to you one other person who had that type of skin but still had the conditioning. Remember Orville Burke?
Yes.
Orville had the same type of mass, but he had that same dark skin, but he had the conditioning. So it can be done. It can be done if the lighting and everything is correct. It can be done. I would pray again. If I knew the lighting guy, I would contact the promoters and say, make sure you get the lighting right. Akeem, size, everything is there. It reminds me of a really, really dark, what was that fucking freak's name from back in the 80s? Victor Richards.
Oh, yeah.
Victor Richards, So, again, I like Akeem, and he will get in there if his conditioning is correct. And when I say conditioning, I'm not talking about the front or the side. He looks great from the side. It's the back. Yes. If he turns around, then he's got that. It's there. Let's say it's 85, 89%. They're going to give him his shot.
Cool. Next up, another New York area guy, Justin the Nightmare Rodriguez. So Justin's he's been a top 10 Olympia guy. He's won a couple shows. He won what did he win? The KO Egypt show, I believe he was winner of that. But I'm looking at the wrong guy here. Justin's been the Arnold a few times. I've seen him in various states of condition and fullness. It's not a very consistent guy in terms of that. I've seen a lot of different looks from him, but when he's on, he's got some beautiful shots. His front double bicep is one of the best I've ever seen.
Yes.
His side shots are incredible. Just another beautiful physique. He's got one of those hybrids with the shape and plenty of mass.
Yeah.
I just don't know. And the updates, again, kind of you never know. I've seen updates where a week or two off, I was like, oh, he's screwed. He's way off. And then he shows up at the show looking phenomenal. I've seen it go the other way with him too, where 2-3 weeks out, I'm like, yes, he's ready. And then I see him at the show, and I don't know if he's flattened out sometimes, but I'd be like biting my nails off if I was a Justin Rodriguez super fan.
Yeah. Everything you said, again, I agree with. And another thing about the pictures that he posts, I don't know if you've noticed this. Some of them he looks fantastic, and some of them he looks like he's flat as a pancake. So I'm like, he's that sensitive to food. Some people are like that. You have a low carb day and you disappear. and then you load back up and boop, 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 and you pop back up again. He's what I call, when you sent me the list the other day, he's the one that I put an asterisk next to as far as the X factor. We don't know which Justin's going to show up. If the Justin at his all-time peak shows up, he'll be in that mix. He'll be in that first call-out mix.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to shows that he's won. I've been to shows where he was very close to winning, and at his best, he's very dangerous. Don't anybody get that twisted.
100% agree.
Next up, a guy whose name has become longer since the last time I saw him. Mohammed Shaban is now Mohammed Shaban El Mbabi, going by his full name. He's got some wins to his credit. He did win. He won the KO Pro Egypt. He won Toronto Pro in 2022. He was in the Olympia and made top 10 in 2021. Second place at some other shows. This is a guy who's when he first turned pro, I wasn't very impressed by him at all. And he had won it. The first show he won, I wasn't even impressed by that. But as time went on, he has improved. He brings a lot more fullness now than he did before. He's definitely someone deserves to be up on that stage. First call out, we'll see what happens. But you're familiar with this guy. He's originally from Egypt, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, another great Egyptian.
Yeah, just Egyptians with the legs, with the fucking quads. And the two words that pop out when I think of this guy, it's dense and compact. He's compact and he's dense. And being from the Middle East, he's going to have the fullness. He will have the fullness on stage. And again, it's just that who you're standing next to. This is a big league show. So I don't think he's going to be in that first call out, but I congratulate him for being there, and he's going to look good.
Okay. Last guy on the list that we'll talk about is the invite, because as some people should know, if you win the Arnold Amateur overall, you get an automatic invitation to the Arnold. That's how Rolly Winkler did his first Arnold Classic back in the day, and others too. His name is
Remco.
Oh, you know how to pronounce it? Good.
Remco Bose. Is that what it is?
I've never heard it pronounced. I see it written down. It's Remeco. I would say Remco or Remco.
Yeah.
Bose, like the stereo systems.
Exactly.
From Phoenix, Arizona. God bless the guy, and I hope he does well. I'm not meaning to knock him or anything. He's just starting out. I'm sure this is not his final form, and he's going to be getting better and better. Right now, I look at the guy and say, size-wise, he's going to have a real problem with most of this lineup. Shape is pretty good and everything. He's going to have to be like diced out of his skull to get a look in this, and hopefully that's what he brings.
My comments about him is be happy that you're there, enjoy the experience, get out there and see what it feels like to stand next to the best in the world, and take some notes and have fun. That's what I would say. Expectations, don't have any expectations. Just go out there and have fun.
Yeah, and that's sometimes the best place to be at, because nobody's expecting a damn thing from you. If everyone's expecting you to take last place, anything better than that is a win. It's a huge win.
Correct.
So let's. I wish him the best. I really do.
Me too.
Let's finish up by talking about the two dropouts that we have had.
Big dropouts.
Big dropouts. So the first one was a voluntary. This guy actually pulled out of his own volition. That's Andrew Jacked, which his real name is Chinedu Obika. We all call him Andrew Jacked.
Andrew Jacked.
This guy had a real shot last year winning this. In fact, on Friday night there on last year, I'm sitting with Giles Thomas. He had him winning the show. I still gave Samson the edge, although I thought they were very, very close. In the end, he took third. It was Nick Walker got in there between him, but Andrew Jack decided his body needed a break, which I totally agree with. I mean, if you look at his contest history over the past 2 years, it's been like nonstop.
Yep.
And I always, as much as I love this guy's physique, I say he's not done yet. I say I wish this guy would take a little time off, let his body rest, make some more improvements to that posterior chain, come back with just a little bit more overall size, and specifically in those areas.
Yes.
He's another one that could be a potential Mr. Olympia for sure.
Yes.
So first off, let's say you're his best friend and you're the only guy he turns to for advice. If he had come to you right after the Olympia, he says, King, do you think I should do the Arnold or sit it out?
I would have said sit it out.
Yeah.
I think just like you, his body is beat up. His mind is beat up. He needs time with family. He needs time with to recover. His body needs to get back into that healing mode. And then we all know that mode. And once you pass the healing, then you get that fire back again and you start to go and you become anabolic again. He needs that. I think this was a good move for him. Andrew would have definitely thrown a monkey wrench if he would have been in this show. 100% he would have been that first call out.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, Andrew is, I love him, and I go back and forth with him too. We text each other and we send messages back and forth. There are certain poses that he does that I think it's more of a inexperience with him. I think Aceto is great. He's getting him, he's teaching him, and pushing him to limits. But I hate his front double bicep. I don't like that twisting thing. I think his side tricep could be better. I don't like the way he shows his physique. He could show his physique a lot better. I don't like his most muscular when he puts his hands one here. I don't like this so much. There's so many better ways to show your body. That is where my master is. I'm a true master of showing. Give me a body, and I'm like, okay, this is how it's done. And right now, there's so many people that hire me just to look at them and say, no, dude, that's not how that looks terrible. Do this. Bring your arm up over here. Put your leg back a little bit more. Put your knees out. It's the little things that make all the difference in the world. So fix that. And he needs another, like you said, I think 5-6 more pounds of muscle just to give more thickness, more push, more pop. And he's right in there. Listen, I'm a fan. I wanted to see him on that stage too. But I think for his career, this was a good move.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the fans, if you're really a fan of someone, you would understand that that's the correct strategy, is to take some time off, let the body heal up. Some fans, they just want these guys in every damn show, and they don't realize these aren't robots. These are human beings, and all these a prep is brutal on the human body.
Yes,
you can't do prep after prep after prep. Although Samson seems to be like the only one. Dexter's he's in that.
That's going to slow down too. Samson is getting away with it right now due to genetics. He has the right. Everybody has their own specific genetics. Dexter, look how long he went. My God, man. I mean, that's the freak of nature right there. Yeah. Again, genetics. Some people can, some people can't. Dennis Wolf. I love Dennis. Dennis is a good friend of mine, but he burnt out like that. Yeah. You just have to go with your fucking genetics. So. I think he made the right decision.
Yeah. And the last guy really wanted to do the show, Nextzilla, Rubiel Mosquera from Colombia. And, I don't know a whole lot about immigration and visa issues. I just don't understand. I can understand Iran because we're always in some sort of feud. We have no diplomatic relations with Iran. Right. And there's always, Middle East is always in turmoil. I don't get, and I don't know if you have any insight on this, Colombia. There's so many damn Colombians in the U.S. Why would a Colombian guy
I'll explain it to you. Something stinks in Siberia. This is what it sounds like to me. There's something, as the kids nowadays, so something sounds sus to me. My daughter says that all the time. Dad, that sounds sus. Something sus. Yeah. So something sounds sus to me right there. So listen, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to stay out of the whole politics thing. I wanted to see him. I'm a fan of this guy. I think he's great for bodybuilding. You put Rubiel's lower body with what's his name? With Nick Walker's upper body, and you got yourself the freak of all freaks walking this planet, right? Yeah. So, listen, he would have been great. He would have been in our first call out. He would have been a fan favorite for sure. For sure. If I was advising him, like you've been saying, if I was his best friend, New York Pro, man, Nick Walker, Rubiel, that will bring the house down, man.
Yeah. I mean, freak factor is off the charts.
Weinberger's listening, man. Use your powers, buddy. I talked to Steve yesterday. I should have said something.
I heard he was coming. I think he's already coming.
Use some of that Weinberger power. Get Rubiel. Get Nextzilla in there. You'll have standing room only, man. You'll be like the talk of the entire bodybuilding shows of 2024 will be that battle. Those two.
That's where I for some reason I thought he was already committed to it.
I don't know. I hope it happens, man. It's in my backyard. I can go check it out.
Yeah, because physique-wise, he wasn't ready to win this yet. I mean, he's another work in progress.
Yes.
Like you said, upper body. People look at how massive he is, but they don't understand it's perfect proportions are what wins shows.
His arms are big, but they look small on his frame because of his legs.
And you know what? His shoulders, he's got plenty of deltoid mass, but that neck. I see videos of him training his neck, and I'm like, why would you do that? You already have a neck that's like 23 inches. I believe it really detracts from the overall impact.
Yeah, it does. And you know what? You can't blame him. I bet you his whole life people have been, kissing his ass because of his neck and this. I saw pictures of him from 4 or 5 years ago. He looked like a basketball player with traps and big legs, So again, he's another one of those Phil Heath type gifts, and he blew up. But he'll learn. He'll get up there and he'll get his ass handed to him by smaller guys, and he's going to get pissed off. His conditioning is right now on a scale of 1 to 10. I would say a 6. Yeah. Okay, he still has a lot more to go. I mean, his legs look, there's no separation in his fucking front quads. So you got to put, once he understands that conditioning, he'll understand what it is, what it takes. You know, I thought him standing next to, because he did the show with them when Samson was cleaning house after the Olympia. They competed. So if he's backstage looking at Samson, I hope he learned there's a next level shit that we're talking about now.
Yeah, and nobody should take that as a knock. This guy has a lot of potential. Potential, and the smart guys with that potential that have things to work on. They listen to this constructive criticism. We're not knocking. We're not just being assholes. We're saying this is what this guy could do to be better. And if he takes that to heart from various people that say this or tell it to him, he's going to be much, much better.
Yeah, but Ron, let me bring something up here though. But it's so hard. You yourself, I'm sure you've gone through this. So hard when you're used to certain things to change. Change is difficult, man. Imagine, just for 1 second, imagine if somebody would have went to Ronnie Coleman and said, Ronnie, stop training like this. Start pulling back on the weight. Go more for negatives and squeezing and do this and go train with Charles Glass. He could have possibly won 10 Mr. Olympias.
Yeah.
But he didn't know any other way. I am guilty of that too. I didn't know any other way. I had to front squat 500 pounds. I had to row 405 pounds. That was my mentality. Thank God, knock on wood, I didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's hard to have that change, to go in there and fucking change. So people who did it, like Dexter, he pulled back. Jay, he finally pulled back and he started to go more volume, this and that. They extend their careers. But, we shall see it. He's a work in progress.
Yeah. Well, wish him the best as always. I I respect the hell out of all these guys. This is a tough sport.
Absolutely. At
that level, it's incredibly hard to be successful with. You're up against the other genetic freaks of the world, and there's levels to that. So this is going to be a great Arnold Classic. I kind of wish, we had a couple more big names in there just because I'm greedy. I want to see I just want to see a Nick Walker. I want to see all these guys up there every time.
Hey man, listen, brother. We got the Olympia back in Vegas, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, you're gonna have, and another thing that we can add in there. I don't know him. I have nothing but praise for Derek, but he's beatable. We all know that. And whenever you have a Mr. Olympia that's beatable, it makes it for a fun Mr. Olympia.
Oh yeah.
So you have a guy who's out for revenge. You have another guy who's beatable. You have another guy coming in there who's the potential multiple Mr. Olympia champion. You have another guy who needs to put on a few pounds. It could be, we got a ton of guys. Again, the Mr. Olympia is going to be up in the air, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and this show is going to sort of set the stage for it, as it always does. It's sort of gives you.
Samson wins the show, he's going to be the number one guy going into the Olympia.
Yeah.
He's going to be the number one. That's not a knock to Derek. I'm just saying, if Samson wins this show, he's going to be the number one dude going in there. It's just the size, the symmetry, the mass, the whole enchilada. He's a great poser. It's just making it interesting.
Yeah, and assuming Hadi Choopan makes it to Columbus, this is a make or break show for him. He has to win this, or else, outside of his fan base,
outside of walking off stage when the people are taking pictures of him, outside of talking shit, outside is a lot. Listen. I'm going to say something here that's controversial, but I don't give a fuck. I'll say it anyway. Good. As a human being, I don't like him. I have my own personal reasons. I don't like him. He's he's an amazing bodybuilder. Yes, but you can't act like that, especially when there's people like Mannion and Weinberger. You can't act like that. Yeah. I know these guys. Weinberger is like I've known him since I was 16. I've known Mannion since I was 15 years old. Oof. 15 years old, I've known Jim Mannion. So I know these guys. You can't do that. You have to have some type of integrity, have some type of morals and character to understand, okay, this is what happens. You know what? At the Night of the Champions in 2003, I got the first call up and I got 4th place. It was mind-boggling to me. But there's a 1 minute bullshit chant in the audience. But guess what? I didn't say anything. I took my lumps and I walked backstage. Steve came backstage and said, "Don't hear it. I don't want to see anything. I don't talk shit in the magazine." And I said, "Steve, no worries. You know why? Because I just became the people's champ. That's it. Done. That's what you got to do when you come back." Physique wise, yeah, man, it's going to be tight. If he brings that conditioning, listen, I'll be honest. I love Flex Lewis, but the 212 times when they ran into each other, I thought Hadi won every single one of them.
Wow.
You know, from the back, Flex is untouchable. Untouchable. Right. But all the other shots, I think Hadi nudged him out, but they never gave it to him. So when it comes to critiquing his body, I will be honest and I will be fair. Did he deserve the Mr. Olympia when he won? Absolutely. Absolutely. Is he one of the best in the world? And could he win the Mr. Olympia again? Absolutely. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And, you know, I want to leave it with people that this is something I talk about when I do these things with Giles. We've all met guys occasionally that we don't care for them as people. For, you know, it's few and far between, but I never let that influence my critique of physique. I'm looking at physiques. I've known guys that I think are the most wonderful human beings in the world, but if they're not the best bodybuilders, I'll say it and I'll point out their flaws and their strong points and this and that. That's what we do. We're here to critique. We're not here to just say everyone's awesome. We can't have a 12-way tie at the Arnold Classic, guys. It doesn't work that way. It's every man for himself. Only one man at the end of the night stands up there with the big paycheck and the trophy. So we'll see. The best man, let the best man win, as they say.
Correct.
All right. Well, that will do it for our preview. We've got King's Instagram under there. Follow him there. Do you have a YouTube channel that people should check out too?
I do have a YouTube channel too. Everything is in the description, in the bio, in my Instagram. And I do want to say one thing. Thank you. I love MuscleTech. I'm happy for you, Ron. They're a great company. As I said before, a lot of athletes, it makes no sense to me when you're with a company and then you're not with them to talk shit about that company. It doesn't make any sense to me. And to this day, anybody who ever asked me about MuscleTech, since I was one of the original athletes signed with them, they were the best fucking company I have ever dealt with. Such professional, red carpet treatment everywhere we went. All the things taken care of. You name it, great company. And I want to thank them for sending me that Peptide 185. I am using it and I feel fuller. I don't care if it's placebo or not. I feel bigger. I feel fuller on it. So thank you for MuscleTech. You guys are the best.
Cool. All right, everyone. So yeah, follow King on his social media, his YouTube channel. Appreciate you taking the time to do this, King. Very, very insightful, honest to a fault. I love it. A lot of people out there are afraid to put their real opinions out there. You've never shied away from, the truth, and I love that about you. So
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks for doing that. And everyone, thank you for watching. Like the channel, like the video, subscribe, leave some comments below if you happen to possibly disagree with anything either one of us have said, although I find that hard to believe, but that's what we're here for. Have a little debate there. We'll love to, I'll get on there and chit chat with you. So that's it. Thanks for watching our Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic preview, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Peace.